Tonight, cruise ship passengers stranded at sea after a deadly suspected hantavirus outbreak.
All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home.
A luxury ship stuck in the Atlantic with Canadians on board. What we know about the rare disease spread by rodents. Security breach at Vancouver's airport.
The fact that someone was able to do that is pretty crazy and pretty terrifying.
How a man got onto the tarmac and climbed into the wheel well of a plane. And who's behind these YouTube videos with tens of millions of views promoting Alberta separatism?
I feel so violated. This is not stuff I believe.
A CBC News investigation reveals the hired actors being paid to stoke division.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. About 150 people, including 4 Canadians, are stranded tonight on a luxury cruise ship off the coast of West Africa. They're being told to stay inside their cabins amid a suspected deadly viral outbreak. Already, 3 people have died. At least 4 others are sick. No one is quite sure how the rare hantavirus got on board or when. And passengers aren't yet being allowed to disembark over fears of spreading it. Hantavirus can cause severe respiratory illness, and as we've seen, it can be fatal. As Lauren Pelly shows us, those stuck on board the ship are right now facing a lot of uncertainty.
This is day 15 of my Atlantic Odyssey.
A luxury cruise to some of the world's most remote locations has turned into a horror show.
We're not just headlines. We're people with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. As we continued further north through the South Atlantic,
This American travel blogger is among roughly 150 people, including 4 Canadians, stuck on board the MV Hondius after multiple passengers and crew are suspected to have caught potentially deadly hantavirus. The crisis began on a month-long trip from the southern tip of Argentina to multiple remote islands in the Atlantic Ocean. A route spanning more than 6,000 kilometers halted at Cape Verde on the coast of West Africa amid the suspected outbreak.
all we want right now is to feel safe and to get home.
Hantavirus infections don't happen often. The virus typically spreads to humans from infected rats and mice, including here in Canada.
This is a good reminder to wear a respirator while you are sweeping out any old mouse droppings because you don't want to breathe in those inhaled aerosols.
Flu-like symptoms can take weeks to appear. In some cases, the disease progresses rapidly with a high death rate. At least 3 people from the cruise have died, including a Dutch couple. Multiple others are sick, and a passenger evacuated to South Africa became the first individual to test positive. More tests are underway to see if it's a particular strain from South America that's already been linked to human transmission.
Based on the Argentinian history and the travel history of these individuals, we will still do the confirmation to see whether it is a South American variant.
The ship's crew is now trying to dock in the Canary Islands. World Health Organization officials say
the overall risk to the public is low.
There are more questions than answers about how hantavirus got on the ship and whether it spread person to person. That is rare, but scientists say in the close confines of a cruise, it could be possible. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
Later in the hour, we will take a closer look at why hantavirus is so deadly. Infectious diseases specialist Dr. Isaac Bogosh joins us in about 25 minutes. Well, a major security breach is being investigated at Vancouver International Airport after a man ran onto the tarmac early this morning and managed to access a plane. As Caroline Bargood explains, it has many asking how on earth could this happen?
A jarring sight. Video taken by an employee at Vancouver International Airport shows police surrounding a plane. Around 4 a.m. Monday, a man scaled a fence, got onto the tarmac, and climbed into the wheel well of a Porter Airlines plane. RCMP eventually took him into custody, but the incident has stunned travelers.
So the fact that someone was able to do that is pretty crazy and pretty terrifying.
I didn't think somebody could get that far. Yeah. Based on the security that's in the airport.
It's probably good to get tested every now and then, right? Because then they have an alarm and they wake up a little bit. So it's good when it's a small problem.
An airport spokesperson says the fence line is monitored by security. and that the threat was immediately identified and contained within minutes. But it took almost 3 hours to bring the man into custody.
But this is an incident that, to me, raises a bunch of red flags.
This aviation expert says security at the airport should have stopped the man before he reached the top of the fence. He worries the safety of the plane could have been compromised.
To me, that is totally unacceptable, that this person basically had access to an airplane through whatever means he did to scale the fence. And for the length of time that he was there, that's not something I want to see happen again.
Porter Airlines says the aircraft, which can carry 132 passengers, will undergo a comprehensive inspection before returning to service. Vancouver's airport has dealt with security incidents in the past. Last summer, a man hijacked a small plane from an airport in Victoria and landed at YVR. He later pleaded guilty to 2 counts of terrorism offenses. The motive in this case is unclear. The whole incident is under police investigation.
YVR says protocols were followed in this case, but like with all incidents, it will work with the RCMP and its partners to review safety measures.
Right, because Caroline, a ton of people have to be asking tonight exactly how could airport security be so easily breached?
Right, and you know, today, Adrian, we were driving around the airport and we noticed all of the fences that we saw either had barbed wire or razor wire. And so as RCMP look into a motive, they will no doubt also be looking into how someone was able to scale a fence and get into the airport. We will probably know more once charges are laid, but RCMP also told us today that this is a bit of an unusual case because charges could also be laid under the Aeronautics Act.
Interesting. All right, Caroline Bargout at Vancouver's airport. So that was clearly a terrifying moment for a delivery driver along a New Jersey highway on Sunday. That's because a United Airlines flight struck his truck and a light pole while trying to land at Newark Airport. It did land safely, but air traffic controllers say the impact left a hole in the side of it. No one on board was hurt, and the truck driver, incredibly, escaped with just minor injuries. The federal government announced $1.5 billion in new relief measures for some Canadian businesses hit hard by U.S. tariffs. But not all sectors are included. And as Kate McKenna explains, that has left BC's premier frustrated.
It's another boost from Ottawa to address the latest escalation from the U.S.
We're in a trade war, we're on the front lines, and the goal is to protect workers and actually keep companies afloat.
A new $1 billion program offering low-interest loans and another $500 million to help businesses pivot.
We can't control the White House. We can't control what's going on south of the border, but we can control what we're doing here at home.
Last month, the U.S. started charging more tariffs on products using steel, aluminum, and copper.
In some cases, companies went from having a tariff of maybe 2 or 3 or 4% to 25% right overnight. It really caught everyone somewhat off guard.
This company, Bow Rock, manufactures the bodies of dump trucks, and 90% of what it makes goes to the U.S.
It might not be viable if nothing changes.
The general manager says loans help, but what they really need is a deal.
It's going to be something to help go through this difficult times in the hopes that they will negotiate something that will bring back some type of normalcy.
So today's announcement from the Liberal government was a clear admission that the Liberal government has failed to deliver yet again a deal on the tariff dispute despite thousands of job losses.
Meanwhile, BC's premier says the softwood lumber industry got left out.
The industry needs as much support as industries that are located closer to Ottawa. Now, I know we're a little further away, but the jobs here are just as important to Canadians as the jobs in other tariff-affected sectors.
The industry minister says more support is coming.
He's right. We need to offer the same type of conditions to the steel, aluminum, and copper sectors than to the forestry and softwood lumber, and that's exactly why we're working on that.
Canadian officials say they're still in talks with the Americans, but there's no sign of an imminent deal to get the tariffs dropped or lowered. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
CBC News has learned the Prime Minister is set to announce who he's appointing to become Canada's next Governor-General on Tuesday. Ashley Burke joins us now. So, Ashley, what do we know about who Mark Carney is selecting?
Adrian, this is the most high-profile selection the Prime Minister has been involved in since taking office. Multiple sources tell us Mark Carney put forward a name who is fully bilingual in French and English. Two sources say it's a woman. Now, the formal announcement of a Governor General is made after the King officially approves the Prime Minister's recommendation, and Carney was clear during an interview with Radio Canada last month he wanted someone fluent in both of the country's official languages.
So the current Governor General, Mary Simon, has certainly faced some criticism for not being proficient in French.
Yeah, Adrian, the Governor General has faced a lot of scrutiny and hundreds of complaints to the Commissioner of Official Languages over this. Mary Simon is bilingual in English and Inuktitut, but despite more than $50,000 worth of French classes as of last year, hasn't been able to fluently speak French. Her office has put out statements saying that she's deeply committed to learning, but the Bloc Québécois took aim at Simon in 2024 after French media reported that she wasn't able to hold a conversation in French during her official tour in Quebec. Simon made history as the country's first Indigenous Governor General. She spent her time in office trying to bring people together, including focusing on reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, destigmatizing mental health, and working to combat climate change.
All right, thank you. That is Ashley Burke reporting in Ottawa tonight. Canada has committed another $270 million to Ukraine's war effort, paying for weaponry recommended by NATO.
The munitions are being made available, munitions, a broad, loose term, being made available by the Americans. So it's a question of financing and getting them there.
The Prime Minister made the announcement from Armenia. He is the first Canadian leader to attend a summit of the European political community formed after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Mark Carney has been pursuing closer economic ties with Europe. Well, for the first time since the ceasefire in the Middle East took hold, the UAE says its energy infrastructure was targeted by Iran. This after the U.S. and Iran traded fire in the Strait of Hormuz. And as Katie Simpson explains, this is reigniting fears that the war could be starting up all over again.
The fight for dominance over the Strait of Hormuz again turns violent. The U.S. says it destroyed at least 6 Iranian fighter boats and shot down Iranian drones and missiles, as American military forces attempt to guide stranded commercial ships out of the strait in what it calls Project Freedom.
We are saying the Iranians do not have control of the strait. We have absolute control of the strait.
But on Iranian state TV, Iran claims to control the strait. In a message attributed to a military leader, it says all transit must be coordinated with Iranian armed forces. Iran is also accused of, again, targeting energy infrastructure in the Gulf region, with damage reported at a facility in the UAE and ships off the coast.
All of these developments are concerning. There's not much clarity at this point, but what we do not want to see is a return to outright kinetic activity in the area.
The fighting comes after Pakistani officials spent the weekend exchanging high-level messages between the U.S. and Iran in the hopes of brokering more peace talks. At this stage, our priority is to end the war, says a spokesman for Iran's foreign ministry. The other side must abandon its excessive demands. And on social media, Iran's foreign minister wrote, "Events in Hormuz make it clear there's no military solution to a political crisis. Project Freedom is Project Deadlock."
We can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon, or you'd have problems like nobody would believe. And it's going very well.
President Donald Trump briefly mentioned the war effort during an unrelated event and also complained about news reports showing the conflict is unpopular.
The polls are fake. I mean, they're totally fake.
Trump took part in several phone interviews with journalists. In one, he declined to say whether the ceasefire is still in place. In another, he threatened to blow Iran off the face of the earth. On Tuesday, the defense secretary and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff will take questions and possibly provide some clarity.
And Katie, I mean, maybe no surprise, all of this is having an impact on the markets.
Yeah, oil prices jumped again, up about 6% on the day, and markets closed lower. The prospect of returning to an active war in the Middle East brings more volatility and uncertainty.
That it does. Thank you. That is Katie Simpson in Washington tonight. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is in hospital in critical but stable condition with pneumonia. A spokesperson for the 81-year-old says he is now breathing on his own after being placed on a ventilator. The spokesperson says Giuliani was diagnosed with a restrictive airway disease stemming from his exposure to toxins from Ground Zero after the September 11th attacks. An Alberta separatist group has handed in its petition calling for a public vote on whether the province should leave Canada. Julia Wong shows us there are outstanding questions and hurdles to be cleared before the next steps can happen.
A party-like atmosphere
This day is historic in Alberta history
for supporters of Alberta's separatism. On Monday, Stay Free Alberta organizers delivered to Elections Alberta what they say is more than 301,000 signatures, aiming to force a referendum on whether the province should leave Canada. That number, much higher than the 178,000 required.
We're happy with the number. We're happy with everything. It's just good.
I've canvassed and whatnot, and for every person that might tell me something rude, there's 20 people that are thumbs up.
But for now, a judicial review of Indigenous concerns around the very notion of separation will delay the usual verification of signatures. Even as those here celebrate, questions linger around a data breach. Last week, a judge forced a different pro-separatist group to take down a public database, the personal information of millions of Alberta voters. Stay Free Alberta says it declined an offer of help from the group with the list.
How can Albertans trust, because of this privacy breach, that all the signatures that you have on this petition are indeed valid?
Well, I'm going to tell them that they are.
Some experts say there needs to be a public inquiry into that breach.
A public inquiry would really go a long way to helping Albertans be reassured that rule of law is alive and well in Alberta, and that the rules that we have are adequately protecting our democratic processes.
The Alberta government isn't committing to one.
I believe the most important thing is to let Elections Alberta and the RCMP do their work, conduct this investigation.
Elections Alberta says it plants false names on voter lists so we can trace the origin of any leaks. If any of those false names appear on the petition, it says there will be deeper scrutiny. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Telus confirms that vandals were the cause of today's widespread internet outage across northwestern BC. The culprits were trying to steal copper cables in this area, and they cut a fiber that knocked out internet, phone, and TV service for thousands of customers. Telus says it enlisted another carrier to make sure 911 emergency calls could still be made. Service was restored Monday evening. An Ontario man who killed 3 children in an impaired driving crash last year has been sentenced to 8 years in prison. Sheehan Desjardins was in court today and spoke with the children's parents.
It's been nearly a year since an impaired driving crash shattered her family.
I have my son Jace, my daughter Maya, and my son Ramon.
Her 3 children killed after a vehicle slammed into their family's van in Toronto last May, also injuring her, her partner, and her other child. She says the sentence for the driver, Ethan Lehoulier, not nearly enough.
The offender has been sentenced to 8 years, and it is 8 years too short.
The courtroom so full, an overflow room opened too, as the justice handed down the sentence, calling the deadly crash tragic in the extreme.
He's very upset. He's pleaded guilty. As soon as we could get all of the paperwork and things in, we could get a court date.
All taken into consideration, according to the judge, along with the fact he was just 19 at the time, mental health struggles, and that it was his first offense. Still, the judge says the crash was preventable, noting Lehoulier's blood alcohol level was more than 2 times the legal limit.
We all make mistakes, right? You've made a mistake, right?
The children's father says he's managed to forgive Lehoulier. But Jade Galva is just trying to get by, remembering 6-year-old Maya, who loved to sing, 15-year-old Ramon, who wanted to be an engineer, and 13-year-old Jace, who was so smart.
It is a relief, but no matter what, it won't bring back the children.
The judge handed down a sentence of 8 years, and with time already served, Lhuillier has approximately 6.5 left. She also imposed a 20-year driving prohibition. Then it'll be up to the Ontario Ministry of Transportation if Lhuillier ever drives again. Chien Desjardins, CBC News, Toronto.
Britney Spears will avoid jail time after she was arrested in March for suspicion of driving under the influence. She pled guilty today to the lesser charge of reckless driving.
I think everybody is pleased with the result. We appreciate the court. We appreciate the thoughtful disposition. We appreciate the district attorney recognizing the positive steps that Britney has taken.
Spears voluntarily checked into a substance abuse treatment center last month. She was sentenced to a year of probation and 1 day in jail, credited as time served. Well, the Habs are Canada's last hope at taking home the Stanley Cup this season, and fans are buying into the team's chances.
If we beat Tampa, we can beat Buffalo, and if we beat Buffalo, we can win the Cup.
So could they actually go all the way? Fashion's biggest night is here with an even bigger financial backer.
Just another example of like a lame billionaire trying to buy up all of our cultural institutions.
Why some are turning on the Met Gala. And an odd oyster predicament.
This is fish anesthetic.
We're back in 2. Excitement is building in Montreal as Habs fans gear up for round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Already, some are daring to dream that just maybe this team could end Canada's championship drought. Natalia Weichsel now on the hype and the next hurdle.
Montreal is bound for the second round.
With a Game 7 win on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Montreal Canadiens are one step closer to the Stanley Cup. Much to the delight of a packed Bell Centre, more than 21,000 fans going wild.
If we beat Tampa, we can beat Buffalo, and if we beat Buffalo, we can win the Cup.
Oh, it's my whole life. I've been a fan since I was a kid. They mean so much to me, and we're going all the way this year.
One day later, the energy's still electric.
That's the only Canadian team we have left. Come on, that's enough reason to want them to win.
I was here celebrating with all the Canadians, and it was fantastic.
Montreal honestly has hands down like the biggest crowd and the most lively crowd in the NHL.
Playoff fever is building, while fans channel their excitement in creative ways, posting videos online and finding fun ways to celebrate.
Go Habs, go!
The buzz not lost on business owners. At Saint-Viateur Bagel, a famous Montreal landmark, they've baked up something special.
Not every CH is the same. Look, it's all art.
An edible treat that pays homage to the Habs.
Since 40, 50 years that we have this passion here at the Bagel for the Canadians.
Next up, the Canadiens take on the Buffalo Sabres, division rivals with a history.
I have no doubt that this is going to be an intense series. These teams have never liked each other. They've always brought out a lot of animosity, even in the regular season.
While the Canadiens start on the road, this analyst says don't count them out.
They have a very serious shot of being able to come away with this series and head over to the Eastern Conference Final.
The next step, Game 1 on Wednesday night, as fans hope the team continues their journey toward ending Canada's 33-year Cup drought. The last one to do it, the Montreal Canadiens. Natalia Weichsel, CBC News, Montreal.
Meanwhile, the Toronto Maple Leafs introduced a familiar face as its new advisor of hockey operations.
This is the hockey capital of the world. We're going to do everything we can to get a winning team here.
Former captain Matt Sundin will work closely with new general manager John Chayka. The two will look to help the Leafs bounce back from a pretty disappointing season. The team failed to make the playoffs for the first time in a decade. Well, the suspected outbreak of hantavirus on a cruise ship is prompting a wave of questions, so we're looking for answers.
Fortunately, it's rare throughout the world, including in Canada. Canada only has about 3 to 5 cases per year.
Dr. Isaac Bogosh takes us through what you need to know about the virus. And YouTube channels spreading lies about Alberta separatism and reaching millions of people.
All content is created for informational and educational purposes.
Who is behind these campaigns and what is motivating them? The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Video game retailer GameStop is launching an unsolicited takeover bid of eBay. The $56 billion U.S. offer is being reviewed by eBay's board. GameStop's Canadian CEO says eBay could rival Amazon, but there are questions over how GameStop could take over a company worth about 4 times its size. Well, this is New York's biggest night for fashion, but the glamour of the Met Gala is being met with pointed protests against its billionaire major sponsor. Griffin Yeager shows us the backlash.
Connor, hold that right there, please, Connor!
Glitz and glamour on full display at this year's Met Gala, a who's who of Hollywood.
It is, in many ways, the Super Bowl of fashion.
But beyond the couture is controversy over the selection of one of the world's wealthiest men as an honorary chair. In the lead up to the gala, activists were loud.
Shame on you, Jeff Bezos.
And across New York City, messages like boycott the Bezos Met and brought to you by worker exploitation. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and his wife Lauren Sanchez are major donors.
Lauren, that smile.
Reportedly giving $10 million to the fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute.
This is just kind of another way of them finding loopholes into owning our American culture.
Rosie, one more time.
The Met Gala, where tickets cost about $100,000, has become a symbol of extreme wealth and exclusivity.
This is a moment where, economic inequity, social inequity is a major problem. And Jeff Bezos is himself particularly a symbol of that kind of status.
New York's new Democratic Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani made a point of skipping the red carpet to focus on affordability. Still, some experts say it serves a bigger purpose, raising millions at a time of major arts funding cuts in the U.S.
$42 million for a single cultural fundraiser is pretty much unheard of.
Legendary Vogue editor Anna Wintour is in Bezos' corner.
He's one of the richest men in the world. She is interested in being a part of society and high fashion.
As the gala pushes for a different sort of inclusion,
I want to focus on sort of diversity of bodily experience, but also commonality, what we all share.
The star power is high, but whether the cultural gain is worth the fuss is up for debate, just like the fashion. Griffin Yeager, CBC News, Toronto.
On the breakdown tonight, getting you some crucial info on hantavirus and getting to the source of some misleading social media accounts. Online content creators are exploiting separatist sentiments in Alberta, not for the politics, but for a payday.
Taking advantage of real grievances Albertans have to drive clicks.
Who is behind YouTube channels with millions of views? But first, more on our top story.
We are working with authorities to understand the source of exposure.
An outbreak on a cruise ship, 3 dead, 3 others seriously ill, and dozens, including Canadians, confined to their cabins.
All we want right now is to feel safe.
The suspected cause is hantavirus, something Canadians may not know a lot about. So let's get some information from infectious diseases specialist, Dr. Isaac Bogosh. So Dr. Bogosh, I don't think we often hear about hantavirus. Can you walk us through effectively what it is? And crucially, how does it get so deadly so quickly?
This is a viral infection. Fortunately, it's very rare. People can acquire this infection by accidentally inhaling viral particles that are in dried mouse feces or urine. So you think, how does that happen? But if you're sweeping out an attic or a shed or a barn, you can unintentionally aerosolize that and breathe it in. It's got about a 1 week to sometimes over a 4-week incubation period. And this is one of those viruses that can cause a very, very severe illness, particularly a respiratory illness. And people can get extraordinarily sick, require hospitalization and oxygenation and ventilation support in a hospital and usually in an ICU. There's no dedicated antiviral that we use to treat this particular type of hantavirus. It's supportive care in a hospital. And sadly, it's got a pretty high mortality rate, upwards of 20% sometimes.
So you talked about that lengthy incubation period, which is a curious thing to read about. But as I was reading about it and listening to the stories, it made me wonder, is there any way to know that you have it before it gets really serious? Because it sounds a little bit like having a bad cold or the flu.
The first few days of symptoms are pretty non-specific and vague, and there would be no real way to know you had it. The key thing when we think about it in a hospital environment is if someone has an obvious epidemiologic exposure, if there was a history of, cleaning up mouse droppings or sweeping out an old shed, coupled with the compatible syndrome. And that's usually when a clinician would think about it and order the appropriate tests. But, fortunately, it's rare throughout the world, including in Canada. Canada only has about 3 to 5 cases per year. Most of these cases are in Western Canada in the prairie provinces.
Okay, so on the one hand, I hear what you're saying about it being rare, but we're talking about 3 people on the same cruise who are suspected of contracting it, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because we've never heard about this on a cruise before. I think it's still fair to say that we need to wait for this investigation to be conducted. We don't have all the information. And given the lengthy incubation period of this, it's certainly plausible that people could have acquired the infection on the mainland, perhaps in Argentina, before getting symptoms while on the cruise. Having said that, we don't know enough about it, and they might have been exposed on the boat itself.
I think one of the things that's happening as people hear about this cruise is they also hear that it cannot dock for whatever reason is yet unclear. So I think you're imagining what is going on that cruise. What kind of additional risk, maybe, are people being put in because they can't sort of escape that environment?
I think people might have memories of the Diamond Princess cruise off the coast of Japan where COVID was ripping through that. Listen, if this truly is hantavirus, we know it is very inefficiently transmitted from person to person. There are case reports of it being transmitted from person to person, but that's the vast minority of cases. Most people are infected through an environmental exposure. So if it indeed is a hantavirus infection, it would be unusual for this to spread broadly. This poses more of an individual risk, not so much a public health risk.
Okay, well, I guess we just have to wait to see if those numbers change. Dr. Isaac Bogosh, thank you.
My pleasure.
Coming up, hired actors with shared scripts take on politically sensitive issues for online engagement and profit.
Can I ask you how much they would pay you for each video?
The first couple, he paid me $60.
We'll look at the business model and the dangers behind it next. A stable of YouTube channels exploiting some Albertans' push for a vote on separatism just for a payday.
The video network itself is very deceptive.
The dangers behind hired actors stoking political division without a stake in the issue or any thought to the real-life consequences. Eric Cito from the CBC News Visual Investigations Unit, along with colleagues at Radio Canada, traced the architect of some of those channels. You might be surprised where that trail ended.
Why don't you just join our country? You become the 51st state.
People are seriously underestimating how big this is.
Watching these videos, you might think these Canadians want to join the U.S.
Western provinces moving towards a U.S.-aligned path has left Canada stunned.
But what if I told you most of these people aren't even really Canadian? We follow the digital clues to expose a web of hired actors and the people behind them.
How do you get my number?
To reveal a shadowy business model. Because whoever you think is behind it, the answer is going to surprise you.
I feel so violated. I think all of it's bullshit.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what's going on in Canada, Alberta is a province that produces most of the country's crude oil, millions of barrels a day. This means Alberta pays a lot of money into the national budget, creating tensions that have led some Albertans to want to break away.
Independence is a matter of survival for Albertans. We have to get out from underneath Ottawa if we're going to prosper and move forward as a country.
And the Trump administration likes the idea.
Alberta is a natural partner for the U.S. Rumors that they may have a referendum on whether they want to stay in Canada or not.
So it's a real thing, and that might be why the sentiment is being exploited online. A report from the Media Ecosystem Observatory highlighted what it calls slopaganda, 20 YouTube channels that contain frequent and obvious lies and are designed to exploit political divisions.
We looked at 20 specific and authentic channels that are coordinated together, and amongst them, they got 40 million views in the past 12 months. The video network itself is very deceptive. They use the same scripts, the same phrasing, the same titles.
This channel is built on freedom of expression. All content is created for informational and educational purposes.
They just plainly fabricate statistics such as polls supporting separatism, annexation, taking advantage of real grievances Albertans have to drive clicks engagement to the channel.
But we wanted to find out who's actually behind these channels. So we go down the rabbit hole and find the truth about some of these accounts. Our first clue was the X accounts linked to these YouTube channels. 2 of them were created while connected to the Netherlands App Store, pretty far from Alberta. We zero in on this account, the Canadian Politician.
Hello and welcome to the Canadian Politician, your trusted source for sharp analysis and updates on the latest developments in Canadian politics.
We reverse image search and find James is really Matt Berry, a Calgary-based media personality.
I was just applying it for a bunch of different gigs. The idea was that was like $20 a video to start, and then he was gonna like monetize. So what happened was I sent this audition video, but we never came to any actual agreement. I never actually like signed a contract.
What are you thinking when we reveal this to you?
My heart sank. You must be talking about the wrong person. This is not stuff I believe.
He shares a Google Doc with information about the job. It's owned by someone who used an email address that includes the name Don Jurgers, using DarkSide, a tool for searching databases leaked online. We connect that email to social media accounts for a Don Jurgers in the Netherlands, who works as a sports journalist. So we call him.
Don?
Yes, with who am I speaking?
Yeah, my name is Eric Cito. I'm a journalist at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I just wanted to make sure we're with the right person here. You are the same person that has been contracting people to make YouTube videos. Is it the right Don?
Yes.
Oh.
How do you get my number?
Oh, we just found it online.
Okay, sorry, then that's my mistake.
Oh, it's okay. Well, listen, I want to just learn about the contracts for the YouTube channels and stuff and just kind of get an understanding how it works, if you have a second.
Yeah, let's just contact through another way, because it's kind of weird that you're calling me out of the blue.
Why is it odd?
We contact Don again, and he denies any involvement, saying what he said on the phone was a misunderstanding. But that's not the only connection we make to people in the Netherlands. This is a channel called Canadian Hub, hosted by someone named Paul.
Hello there. My name is Paul, your reliable reporter for in-depth analysis and updates on the latest Canadian news.
We find his TikTok account and learn he's a voice actor.
Hey, I'm going live here in just a minute. Check it out.
Then we use the sign at the back of this video that says Rush Memorial Hospital and geolocate him to the US, in Indiana.
Can I ask you how much they would pay you for each video?
The first couple he paid me $60 for. But right now, I'm pretty much thinking I'm not going to do any more of these, because I don't want to be a part of that. I'm in Indiana. I don't know anything about Canadian politics.
Was there any indication that the people you're speaking to that were contracting you, were they Dutch?
That's very possible.
He sends us chats with someone who goes by Marijn Masseus on Discord. We match that name and a profile photo to a man in the Netherlands named Marijn Masseus. He calls himself a digital creator. We contact Marijn over email, and he also denies any involvement. But there's one more person we find connected to the scheme. Not only does he admit it, he leads us into the murky world of faceless YouTube.
In this video series, I'm going to show you exactly how you can build a profitable, scalable, and fully automated YouTube business in just 90 days. Without ever showing your face on camera.
That's Niels Vanderland. He runs the online course Faceless Education, which promises to teach people how to make thousands of dollars every month with faceless YouTube videos. It's big business. There are hundreds, if not thousands of courses and guides online, all promising the same thing. Making money with videos that you don't have to appear in, using actors or AI. And we find that 2 people behind these channels took the same course, hosted by Niels. It starts with Bart Craning, another American actor, hired to be the face of a channel called David Fraser YT.
For years, Alberta was told to sit down, stay quiet, and accept the system. Suddenly, that same system is saying something very different. Now they want to talk. Now they want negotiations.
We know he's the actor behind it because he reveals it on his Snapchat.
Here you guys go. You can see what YouTube pays.
How many videos do you think you've done with them?
So they sent me 2 more for tomorrow, which would be episodes 232 and 233.
So 230 videos you've done.
We put out video after video about separation. Why are 9 out of our 10 videos on the main page about Canadian separation? That was what I brought up to them. How many channels do you guys actually run? That's when I texted you back. They said, we are not a part of misinformation campaign. At the moment, we have 12 channels running.
He shared his chats with a Discord channel called MJY Trading, who signs off as Joep Liquor. We find that Joep is the CEO of MJY Trading, a Dutch company. He describes its business model as faceless YouTube videos. Interesting, but that's not all. We find this review that Yoop made for Neil's faceless education course. He says he went from making no money to living off his YouTube income. That leads us to the Faceless Education YouTube channel. And guess who we find?
Ik ben Joep, ik ben 25 jaar oud. Het is wel echt levensveranderend geweest. Dus, want uiteindelijk heb ik daardoor ook mijn baan kunnen opzeggen bij KPMG.
When we reach out to Yoop, he tells us they are not affiliated with political movements, advocacy groups, or campaigns related to independence, and that the YouTube channels are focused on generating revenue. Now we've connected the Faceless Education course to Dutchman Yoop Licker, who hired American actor Bart Kraning to be the face of a YouTube channel promoting Alberta separatism. Yoop isn't the only person we find that took this course. We also find Marijn Massoes.
Ik ben Marijn, ik ben 21 jaar oud. Ik studeer nog ondernemerschap en retail management.
They're in it to make a quick buck. There's no indication that governments are interested in regulating that kind of activity at all. But big question is what happens when the proponents actually don't have any skin in the game whatsoever. A person who's sitting in the Netherlands developing these videos that are trying to promote Alberta leaving Canada has no personal stake in whether the separatists succeed or fail. And that can make them really dangerous actors.
People are seeing these videos and view that as real news from real people. It's shocking, but it's not surprising. I think that's like sort of a world we're living in right now.
So for now at least, it looks like that's the answer. Not Russia, not China or the US, but YouTubers trying to make money. If there's anything you want us to investigate, email us at vi@cbc.ca.
You can get more on Eric Sito's investigation on cbcnews.ca. Now, let's turn to another example of the challenge posed in navigating online content. Avneet Dillon and the CBC News fact-check team with a photo purporting to show a mural of Jeffrey Epstein's victims.
This photo has been circulating online with claims that it shows a mural of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. One of our viewers emailed us after stumbling on the photo on Reddit but finding little info about its subjects and location. That's because the photo isn't real, it's fake. Here's how we know. SynthID is a tool that embeds invisible digital watermarks directly into content that's created using Google AI. When we uploaded this image to Google Gemini and asked if it had the watermark, it was detected, showing that most or all of the image was edited or generated using Google AI. Although it's important to note that AI tools like this don't always give you the correct response. For example, when we dropped the photo into Gemini without asking about the watermark, it gave us false information about the photo, saying it showed a public art installation in New York City. There's no record of a mural that looks like this in the city, and there's also some visual cues in the photo that tell us it's fake. If you zoom in on the faces in the mural, you can see they're distorted. The shape of the building is also odd, as if the blank brick wall were built specifically for this mural. And on the left edge of the wall, there's a section of the bricks that are warped and blend into the background. The people sharing the image may have good intentions, a desire to express support for survivors of Epstein's sexual abuse. But they're sharing it without knowing where it originated. If you're seeing other photos or videos you'd like us to verify, send us an email at ask@cbc.ca.
Coming up, a massive oyster clamps down on a heron, forcing an urgent rescue in BC.
It snapped its shells shut and would not let go.
So strange how the community helped set the bird free. Next in our moment. We're looking at a pretty bizarre entanglement. So imagine this, a heron caught in the grasp of a huge oyster that just refused to let go. A local animal rescue and a vet clinic had to get creative to help set the bird free. Their quick wit and their surgical precision makes our moment.
You are right how complicated this is going to be.
I got a call from an animal rescue group, and it's because I have a blue heron with a oyster stuck to its foot. This was not just a minor oyster. It was 18 centimeters long and about 300 grams.
The heron must have been simply foraging as they do and must have stepped into the oyster. It snapped its shells shut and would not let go. The only effective method was going to be to anesthetize the oyster and then slide the toe out.
Yay! That actually worked beautifully.
I shucked an oyster. I can honestly say this is a first for me. Probably it's going to lose the last 2 or 3 centimeters of that toe, After we bandaged it, it's already standing up and was walking around in the cage.
We'll get this heron back out to the wild as quickly as possible.
Okay, so that was a huge effort and a huge oyster. None of those people said they had ever seen one that big. And as you saw there, they had to anesthetize the oyster because it was still alive. Otherwise, it would have clamped down harder. The oyster, however, did not make it. From all of us at The National, thanks for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.